The massive steel safe stood wide open, stacks of crisp $100 bills gleaming under the soft office lighting. Each bundle represented more money than most families see in a lifetime, yet there they sat, seemingly abandoned. Marcus Wellington remained perfectly motionless in his burgundy leather chair, his breathing slow and measured, eyes barely cracked open as he watched through his lashes. This moment would determine everything he believed about human nature. 6-year-old Ruby entered the executive office, her tiny hand clasped firmly in her mother's work-worn palm. The little girl wore miniature purple cleaning gloves, a thoughtful gift from her mother Grace, who wanted her daughter to feel included during these long evening shifts. For 2 years now, mother and daughter had worked together at Wellington Industries, Ruby quietly doing homework, while Grace cleaned the sprawling corporate offices with meticulous care. Marcus had orchestrated this test with surgical precision. 3 months earlier, his business partner had delivered a devastating betrayal, stealing $2 million and vanishing without a trace. The betrayal had shattered Marcus's faith in humanity itself. At 52, he had built a financial empire from nothing, but now wondered if even a single honest soul existed in this corrupt world. The experiment was elegantly simple. Leave a fortune completely exposed and observe whether anyone could resist temptation's pull. If Grace or her daughter took even a single bill, it would confirm his growing cynicism about human nature. Grace began her evening routine with practiced efficiency. She moved methodically along the mahogany bookshelves, her movements graceful, despite the fatigue in her bones after working her morning shift at the medical clinic. She had mastered the art of invisible excellence, cleaning thoroughly while never disturbing a single document or personal item. Ruby, naturally curious as all children are, wandered toward the imposing desk where Marcus feigned sleep. Her dark eyes widened at the sight of more money than existed in her young imagination. Marcus held his breath, bracing himself for yet another crushing disappointment in human character. But what unfolded next left him completely speechless. Ruby didn't reach for the money with greedy fingers. Instead, she noticed the bills were scattered haphazardly and began carefully organizing them with the focused concentration of a tiny librarian. Her small fingers worked with surprising delicacy, sorting denominations and creating neat, precise stacks as if handling something sacred. "Mama," she whispered softly, "Mr. Marcus's money was all mixed up. I made it neat like you showed me with our change jar at home." Grace spun around, startled. "Ruby, sweetheart, you can't touch the boss's belongings." "But it was messy, Mama," Ruby explained with innocent logic. "He'll be happy when he wakes up and sees everything organized pretty." Marcus felt an unfamiliar tightness in his chest, an emotion he hadn't experienced in decades. This child, who had probably never held more than a few dollars at once, had organized thousands instead of pocketing a single bill. More remarkably, she announced her actions with transparent honesty, someone whose moral compass pointed true north regardless of circumstances. What Marcus couldn't have anticipated was how this simple act would trigger events that would transform his cynical worldview and expose ugly truths about prejudice, the power of kindness, and the real measure of human worth. In the following weeks, Marcus quietly observed Grace and Ruby with growing fascination. He discovered Grace worked exhausting double shifts, cleaning his offices at night and a medical clinic each morning. Ruby accompanied her everywhere, completing homework in waiting rooms or playing quietly while her mother worked with unwavering dedication. Through discreet inquiries, Marcus learned Grace's heartbreaking story. Orphaned at 8 and raised in foster care, she had struggled to finish high school while working multiple jobs. College remained impossible when she became pregnant with Ruby at 24, and the father abandoned them upon learning the news. Since then, Grace had supported her daughter alone, refusing assistance she considered charity. What impressed Marcus most was the powerful moral foundation Grace provided Ruby. "We always return what isn't ours, even when nobody's watching," he overheard her teaching. Our honesty is worth more than all the money in the world, baby girl. Moved by her integrity, Marcus secretly increased Grace's salary, instructing human resources to classify it as a performance adjustment. However, his good intentions caught the attention of someone whose moral compass pointed in the opposite direction. Vincent Harrington, executive vice president and heir to old money privilege, noticed the payroll adjustment during a financial review. At 48, Vincent embodied everything toxic about inherited wealth, arrogant, entitled, and poisoned by generations of prejudice. Marcus, why are we wasting additional funds on cleaning staff? Vincent demanded during their Monday meeting. Especially on that particular employee? Grace is an exceptional professional, Marcus replied coolly. Vincent laughed dismissively. Exceptional? Marcus, you need to understand these people's limitations. Give them extra money and they'll soon demand the entire vault. It's simply their nature. Marcus felt anger burning in his chest, but maintained composure. Vincent's family held significant company shares, making him virtually untouchable despite his repugnant attitudes. Furthermore, Vincent continued with disgust, she brings that child here, completely inappropriate. What kind of mother exposes a child to a corporate environment? Obviously lacks proper family structure. That evening, Marcus witnessed something that ignited pure fury within him. Vincent had deliberately stayed late and cornered Grace in the hallway when she arrived with Ruby. Listen carefully, Vincent said menacingly, blocking their path. I know you're receiving more money than you deserve. I'm unsure what kind of special services you're providing, but it ends now. Grace's face went pale. Sir, I don't understand what you're implying. Of course you don't, Vincent sneered. People like you never do. You simply take what you're given and stay quiet, and remove that child immediately. This isn't a daycare center. Ruby hid behind her mother, frightened by Vincent's aggressive tone. Grace protectively embraced her daughter. Sir, I'm simply doing my job to the best of my ability. Your job is cleaning and remaining invisible. Nothing more, Vincent snapped with vicious contempt. Marcus watched this cruel display from his office doorway, feeling righteous fury that demanded action. Vincent had crossed an unforgivable line, not only insulting Grace, but terrifying an innocent child. What Vincent couldn't have known was that Marcus had recorded their entire confrontation through the security system Vincent himself had approved. But Marcus wanted more than recordings. He wanted Vincent to destroy himself so completely that he would never recover. Over the following days, Vincent escalated his psychological warfare against Grace with reckless confidence. He fabricated attendance violations, spread malicious rumors, and made increasingly threatening implications about her character. Marcus documented everything while contacting David Chen, a former FBI investigator specializing in corporate discrimination cases. David's investigation uncovered Vincent's disturbing 15-year pattern of racial harassment across multiple companies, always protected by family money. The trap was set when Vincent decided to plant an expensive Rolex watch in Grace's cleaning supplies, planning to discover it publicly and have her arrested for theft. He had no idea that Marcus was recording his every move through hidden cameras, or that 3 investigative journalists were waiting outside. When Vincent triumphantly found the planted watch and called for Grace's arrest, Marcus appeared with David and the reporters, armed with irrefutable evidence of Vincent's setup. High-definition footage showed Vincent purchasing and planting the watch, combined with recordings of his racist social media posts and conspiracy to fabricate evidence. Vincent, Marcus said with deadly calm, we just recorded you planting that, watching Grace's cart to frame her. Vincent's confidence crumbled as Marcus continued. We also have recordings of your racist posts, your threats to Grace, and your confession about creating legal difficulties for her. The confrontation was swift and devastating. Within minutes, Vincent went from confident predator to exposed criminal. Police arrested him for conspiracy and attempted defamation, while cameras captured his spectacular downfall. His bank accounts were frozen. His family disowned him. And his career ended so dramatically that business schools would study it as a cautionary tale. Mr. Vincent was a very mean man, Ruby said quietly as police led him away in handcuffs. But good people always win, don't they, Mr. Marcus? Yes, sweetheart, Marcus replied, kneeling to her level. Good people like you and your mama always win in the end. 6 months later, Grace walked through Wellington Industries halls not as a cleaning lady, but as Director of Human Resources, a position Marcus created after learning she had been 1 credit shy of her business degree. Her first initiative was establishing a scholarship program for employees' children, with Ruby as the inaugural recipient. Marcus transformed his company into a beacon of social justice, winning awards for diversity and creating opportunities for hundreds of previously overlooked individuals. The Fair Chance program, named in honor of Grace's case, had already benefited over 200 families. Meanwhile, Vincent lived alone in a cramped apartment working minimum-wage jobs when employers didn't recognize his infamous name. His racist posts continued circulating online like digital ghosts, ensuring his reputation remained permanently destroyed. 3 years later, Ruby attends the city's most prestigious preparatory academy and dreams of becoming a civil rights lawyer to help people like Mr. Marcus helped us. Grace has earned her MBA with highest honors and is nationally recognized for her workplace equality programs. The teacher asked us to write about our heroes, Ruby announced during dinner at the beautiful house Marcus had helped them purchase. Can I write about you, Mr. Marcus? Marcus felt tears in his eyes. Ruby, the real hero is your mother, who taught you that honesty is worth more than any amount of money. Grace took Marcus's hand. No, the hero is the one who had the courage to fight when it would have been easier to ignore injustice. The following week, Marcus received a call from CNN requesting a feature story on how his company became a model of inclusion after the Vincent Harrington case. The story aired during prime time, showing Ruby playing in the office where it all began, Grace working in her executive role, and Marcus explaining how a 6-year-old had changed his view of justice and humanity. Vincent watched the report from his studio apartment, drinking alone as he saw his old life thriving without him. He tried calling former colleagues, but they had all blocked his number. His racist posts kept resurfacing whenever he applied for jobs, haunting him like digital ghosts from his past. On Ruby's 10th birthday, Marcus made a special announcement during her party. Ruby, you and your mama have changed my life in ways I can never fully repay. That's why I'm creating the Ruby Jefferson Educational Fund, which will provide college scholarships to talented young people for the next 50 years. Ruby ran to hug him. Thank you for believing in us when nobody else did. That same day, Vincent was rejected for a gas station job after the manager Googled his name and found the discrimination articles. His fall had been so complete that it became a business school case study about how prejudice destroys careers. Marcus realized that true justice wasn't about destroying Vincent. It was about building something magnificent from the ashes of hatred. He had turned an ordinary company into a symbol of social justice, created opportunities for hundreds of people, and proved that integrity leads to genuine prosperity. The honesty of a 6-year-old taught me that the best response to hatred is love combined with action, Marcus said during a Harvard Business School speech. Vincent tried to bring us down, but he ended up lifting us to heights we never dreamed possible. Today, Ruby is bound for Harvard Law School. Grace is nationally recognized for her HR innovations, and Marcus has been honored by the government for his contributions to racial equality in corporate America. Vincent still lives alone, working odd jobs, remembered only as an example of what happens when someone underestimates the power of human decency, combined with the determination to do what's right. True justice wasn't Vincent's imprisonment or financial ruin. It was proving that kindness, When protected by strength, builds legacies that inspire generations and transform the world one honest heart at a time.